pulling up. I'm just ain't no. They threw him a party the day that he got home. Oh, and they called him a hero, but he felt all alone. Surrounded by his family and all his friends but one. Oh, he lost him in that country to a buried roadside bomb. When his dad stood up and said, our hero has returned, he looked down at his scars and his purple heart and said, Dad, you know that hurts, 'cause that told me it to not sound grateful, 'cause the good Lord knows I am, for sparing me my life on the day he took my friend. But I still wish that I had gone with him, or maybe even took his place. Oh, but destiny didn't lead me that way. So I'm not trying to say you're wrong, but heroes ain't the ones who make it home. He said Danny had a daughter that he'll never get to see. And I know that he was proud, but he was only 23. And they gave me this medal, pinned it on my uniform. But this piece of tin don't mean a thing, no, if it can't bring them home. So I told me to not sound grateful, 'cause the good Lord knows I am, for sparing me my life on the day he took my friend. But I still wish that I had gone with him, maybe even took his place. Oh, but destiny didn't lead me that way. I'm not trying to say you're wrong, but heroes ain't the ones who make it hurt. Don't need to not sound grateful, 'cause the good Lord knows I am, for sparing me my life on the day he took my friends. But I still wish that I'd gone with them. Every day I'd take their place. Oh, my destiny didn't lead me that way. I'm not trying to say you're wrong, yes I am, 'cause heroes ain't the ones who make it home. No, heroes ain't the ones who make it home.
And welcome to another edition of the True Patriot Outfitters podcast. You were just listening to Sal Gonzalez. Folks, you ever have the opportunity to catch Mr. Gonzalez in concert, absolutely do. Part of the Stop 22 tour, one of the core members of the Stop 22 tour, combat veterans, making music by veterans, for veterans. This episode of the podcast brought to you by Romans Warrior Foundation, which is the mothership of the Stop 22, the Field Ops, the Global War on Terror's Wall of Remembrance, the Hoosiers with Hearts, Disaster Relief Team, and of course the sole reason why the True Patriot Outfitters is in existence today. Also brought to you by New Canoe. Unlimit yourself. You want to power, you want pedal, you want paddle. New Canoe has a yak for you. Check them out. made in the USA. And I absolutely love my Unlimited. And the TPO, we have a small fleet of them. That's what we take our awesome and honored guest out in all the time with it. So we are here for a special edition All American Kayak Series. We're doing it a little early just because the time of the year and the way things are going to lay down. Your boy here is going to be getting on the road, and I'm going to be traveling, with that week leading up because it's a little bit further than normal for me. So it's going to be probably a 2-day run for me to try to get down there, just because I'm old and I can't put 16 hours in a day anymore on the road. I push out after about say 11 or 12. I'm good, man. I'm finding myself a hotel. But we are going to be this is the series championship. This is such a super, super cool deal. We are going to be the first ever kayak tournament being held in this area. Just a gorgeous part of the country, especially. I can't wait to see what this looks like at this time of year, very beginning of October here, is the Felsenthal Refuge, southern Arkansas. Now, while mind you, it looks like some of this kind of rolls down into Louisiana. Our competition borders are going to be Arkansas waters only. And I believe our guest here will correct me if I'm saying this wrong because I murder names a lot, but I believe it's Ouachita, the river, I think, or yeah, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. He's smiling right now, so I'm not sure if I murdered that or not. But that is going to be the main river system that we're going to be playing around on. And man, there is just so much looking around down in here of just a diverse range. But as you guys know, normally we try to bring in a fishing guide to set this whole thing up. But in this case here, we don't really have that. So we thought, you know what? We'll go right to the Wildlife Refuge themselves, and we'll bring in the man that is going to be able to give us some information. So without further ado, let's bring in Michael Stroh. Michael, thank you for joining us, sir. How are you?
Uh, Good evening. Doing great. Doing great.
So how bad did I murder the name, man?
Washita.
Washita. I butchered it. They say if you're going to do something, do it right,
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to say something first and foremost, just in case something occurs here. So you would think I live in the suburbs of Denver, Colorado, right? But since moving into this brand new subdivision where I live, I have never experienced more power outages and more cable, internet outages than I have since I've lived here. We have been live before, and all of a sudden I drop off. If that happens, Michael, just keep talking about the refuge. I'll join back up. Yeah, I have my phone sitting right next to me on standby. That's actually how I thought I was going to have to do the podcast tonight. But literally 15 minutes before we were going to go live, my internet came back up. It's been out since, I don't know, 10 o'clock this morning. So it's been crazy. So if you do lose me, I'll be right back. I just take a few seconds for me to get the phone back up, but figured I'd
No,
get that out of the way.
not a problem.
Michael, what is your official title there at the refuge?
I am the project leader for South Arkansas National Wildlife Refuges. It includes Felsenthal, Overflow, and Pond Creek National Wildlife
Oh,
Refuges.
wow. So you're a busy dude.
Uh, try to, as I tell everyone, trouble's always following me, so I have to keep moving.
We might be related, my friend. I feel the same. I feel the same.
Mhm.
Well, that's awesome. And how long have you been in this capacity with the wildlife refuge?
I have been at Felsenthal now for 10 years.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
So probably my last stop.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, it's for some of us out there. It's one of those bucket list and dream jobs to be able to work. And your office is outdoors, man. I mean, that's what everybody's looking for. These days, at least in our
That's what
line of work.
everyone assumes that, but I spend a lot of time in the office because I deal with the budgets and personnel and
Okay, that
uh,
doesn't sound fun.
no, there's the downside to it, but I've always said the government was foolish enough to pay me for my hobby.
I love it. I love it. Good stuff. So, talk to me, man. What we're the first ever, Josh. worked with you guys, got the permits lined up, got us set up here to be able to come down here with the first kayak tournament that's coming in. We're excited about a lot of the stuff that we see. We understand that the water's going to be a little low down there, so we probably won't see as many boats, running around as much at that time, which I'll tell you, to a bunch of kayak anglers that are having a tournament, we love hearing that we're not going to have to compete with a lot of boat traffic out there. What are we walking into? What's the refuge, all about?
Well, first, Felsenthal was established in 1975. It's part of the Washita Black River Navigation Projects.
Okay.
They put in a new lock and dam, and they raised the water levels 3 feet from from the previous lock and dam that was there, and where we had just a couple thousand acres of water on the refuge at that time, raising it 3 feet suddenly put probably about 12,000 acres of water on us.
Wow.
So some of the timber, has since died off, or and stuff, creating a lot of open water areas, and the fishing really picked up over the years.
I bet.
That's so it's what we call the Felsenthal pool. Um, the good things about it, fishing has been picked up, provided some excellent opportunities for waterfowl hunting, teal hunting. We just had teal season this past weekend. So a lot of great recreational opportunities there. But the downside of it is, too, it also raised the water levels.
Okay.
And the trees of the forest does not like that much water. So the forest is slowly but surely, gradually changing its composition. In some areas, it's dying back. And other areas, it's just the species composition is changing.
Oh, wow.
So even though we have the lock and dam system, the spring rains and stuff, generally we can get up to 10, sometimes 15 feet of water. That's going up the trees.
Oh, wow.
And it may sit on us, that water may sit on us for up to 6 months, it has in the past.
Gee, many Christmas.
So the trees can tolerate a lot, but the thing is, lately the flooding, these 100-year floods, as they call them, are happening on a much more regular basis. So,
I see. Now, what has this year been like? Because I know, like for us here in Colorado, our drought is over. There isn't a section of Colorado that is any longer in drought, which, mind you, this drought's been going for the longest time. This is the greenest I've seen our state in like years, maybe decades. It's beautiful out here right now. But other areas, as I travel, into the Midwest and get a little bit further, there's these other areas that have just been kind of in a little bit of a drought this year. What have you guys been seeing? Normal rain, a little more than normal, or less?
uh, overall, we've been in a drought overall,
Okay.
except right where the refuge is. We've been getting some regular rain, so I can't say we're in a drought. Um,
Okay.
but you just have to go maybe 25 miles to the south of us, and they haven't had any rain in quite a while.
Oh, wow.
So they've had a lot of some high fire dangers and stuff like that. So we've been fairly fortunate, right? As of recently, within the last 2 weeks, I think we've gotten about 4 inches of rain,
Oh,
which
geez.
so we're doing good. We're doing real well.
Gotcha. So I'm going to bring this up here on our screen here, and I'm going to remove you and I for just a minute here. All right. So this way, I on my map here, I mark ramps and such of possible, launching locations. That's what my little dots are. But here's the lock and dam you were talking about right here,
Yeah, that's correct.
the main one there. Now, the land that surrounds this, is this public land that surrounds, or is there private land mixed in?
That's all public land. Felsenthal's 76,000 acres, and it's for the most part contiguous.
Okay. And it looks like the biggest city around looks to be Crossit and West Crossit there.
Yeah, Crossit, Arkansas. Yes, it's about
Okay.
5,000 people.
Okay. All right. Nice. Um, okay, and I believe our boundaries that we have established go up
It's right
to,
there by that road. Yeah.
Yeah, I
right
think it's
where
right
you're
up
at.
here.
Yep.
Yeah, right up here.
And
That
that's the
connection.
cross at Harbor. That is um, the Washita River still brings up barges periodically. Not very often to cross it, but one or two a year is all the barges they see anymore.
Gotcha. And
And
there's just
I think that's where your permit is, launching out of that boat ramp right there.
Yep, that's one of them. Yeah, as the nice thing about kayak, tournaments is that we don't have a singular launch point. Like boat
Yeah,
tournaments do. As long as we can launch from any public, launch, or as long as it's public land, our rules are you cannot cross private property. Obviously.
yeah.
Um,
And there's none in there once you're on that river.
yep,
You can see the cut there that goes into open break.
yep.
That was a man-made cut that brings you into that to allow fishermen to get in there, and that is actually also our waterfowl sanctuary. But a lot of boaters can get in there, but they can't go very far.
Right.
Uh, we had to pull our boat through there the last time, get out and pull for a while.
So, okay, well, so if you were brave enough to get out and pull through there, so here comes the question. I'm a dude from the Midwest. We got cold, deep waters. Gators, man, let's talk about them. Are they there? Are we going to run into them?
Uh, we do have a few gators. I
Okay,
won't deny that, but we are not. We're a little bit far north for them, and our flooding regime, where we can have a 10-foot rise in water, just is not preferred by gators.
good,
So
good.
you're not going to see a whole lot of gators.
Okay,
I'd be real surprised if you've seen any,
okay.
but
They could,
there is a few out there, and
sure,
we get a few people that talk about them.
good. Okay. Well, in this time of year, I mean, obviously for gators, it's not a mating season. It's not, they're not going to be on nests and things of this nature. So chances are they're going to be pretty docile and pretty wanting to stay the heck away from us if they see us.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're not. Yeah, they'll be more afraid of you than anything else.
I doubt they're more afraid than I am of them. I'll tell you.
Well, just don't let them know that.
Exactly. Don't tell them that. Man, it just looks the vegetation around here. What are we looking at when we see this? The trees and such. Are we going to be dealing with some cypress trees there? Obviously, is that kind of
You're going
what?
to see some cypress trees, especially along that channel there. You can see out in the open water there. That's all cypress trees. That's cypress trees. Yep.
Nice, nice.
Now that what you're looking at is a picture at pool stage. Now a lot of that's going to be dry
Okay,
um, there, so you can see where the old channels are. That's where those channels can be very shallow in places. You can have
okay,
stumps and logs and stuff like that that people are going to have to paddle around, but a lot of that's going to be dry. Like I said, we only drew the pool down 1 foot, but it does expose about 3,000 acres of mud flat, and that
okay,
mud flat now is vegetated.
okay. So it'll be pretty easy to see through there. The river itself, the main channel stays flowing though.
Yes, but this time of year it's pretty slow. There's not a whole lot of rain coming through. It is not what I would call fast flowing by any means. You'll have no problems kayaking that.
Perfect. Perfect. And south of the lock and dam down through here, is it more of the same type stuff that we're gonna see through this?
Yeah, yes. Now, just because the lock is releasing a little water, you may have a little more current.
Up in here, right?
Yeah. So, but that's about the extent of it. And Mossy Lake, there is, you see, that is private land. That there's no access allowed there.
Gotcha. That's good to know. That's good to know. What sort of I'm sure most people would know, but I'll always ask the fish species. What would you think we're going to run into when we're down here?
Well, you're going to see the bass species. Florida bass, largemouth bass. They're the ones that most people are after. But we have crappie, we have catfish, we have paddlefish. Yep,
There
we have carp.
there are
Uh,
paddlefish in there
there
in the
is
river.
some, yes.
Nice.
The deeper waters, that's where you're going to find your paddlefish.
Sure.
So So we have a little bit of everything that is native to this part of the world, and yes, we even have a few of the Asian species,
Yep.
unfortunately.
Yep. Some of the Asian carp.
Yeah.
And so you just said some of the Florida strain bass. You have Florida strain DNA bass in here.
Yes, we do.
Wow, nice. Okay, that helps them get good size.
Yeah, yes, they've been running. Well, this past year, I think the average has probably been 2 3 pounds, but we have people are pulling have pulled 5 and 6 pounders out of there.
That's always good to hear. That's those are the big ones to write home about. When we get a shot to hit one of those, a little bit easier to kind of see how this lays out with this map view here. See some of the main channels a little bit. The Spring Bayou.
Yeah. Now, like a lot of that blue in there is now going to be dry
Yep.
because of the drawdown, but the old river channels and creek beds and stuff, they'll really pop up now. Where it says Spring Bayou, that bayou um, is going to be a beautiful kayaking bayou right now.
Nice. Very good. Now, what about Mr. No Shoulders? I always like to ask this. The snake population. Uh, what kind should we be on the lookout for down here? The ones that would cause us problems.
Well, we have a lot of snakes.
Yep.
Let's just get that right on the table. There's a
Yep.
lot of snakes out there. We have banded water snakes, garter snakes. Yeah, we have copperheads. You're gonna find them in the woods. We do have cottonmouths, and they are everywhere out there.
Gotcha.
So, and once again, I don't, unless it's a real cool, if it's real cool out, you probably won't see any, except when it warms up, they may start coming out sunning themselves on the logs and the mud on the banks and stuff. But
Sure.
other than that, I don't see that being any issue.
Perfect. We just, every now and again, I see the videos of where, Mr. No Shoulders is swimming across. The guy in the kayak doesn't notice it, and he crawls up in the back of the kayak to hang out for a while and sun himself. And with some guys out there, they basically say, you know what, that snake owns a kayak now, and they're gone.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen people do that. So
Yeah. So it's always good to keep tabs on there, and it's checking all of our safety measures and such to know that what we're up against. That's one of the cool things about kayak angling is that you become far more intimate with the water that you're fishing, and I mean you're in their turf, and even those of us with motors, that the trolling motors that we run. It's still we're very dug down in and we're very low to the water and very much in the environment there. So it's very cool to see what we're going to be dealing with there.
yeah, and like I said, you're gonna see the channels are gonna really pop out that when you get out there. Some of those old creek bottoms and stuff. It's quite the sight to see. Plus, you're going to see lots of vegetation now because all that vegetation has just sprung up with the few rains we've had and us exposing the mud flats.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah, it's setting up to be a beautiful, beautiful location there. Very, very excited to get us down here and check some of this stuff out. Local areas. So what now? In the past, boats. Are there many boat tournaments that take place on this water?
we have about 30 to 40 tournaments annually.
Okay.
Um, so it is a popular fishing. Now, some of those tournaments are, small mom and pop type tournaments.
Yep.
The Thursday night tournament comes in, you may have only 10 boats out.
Yep.
But we do have some of the bigger ones. Media Bass has a big tournament here. The state tournament here is held every third year, is held here.
Nice.
So we do have some bigger boat tournaments that you can run anywhere from 60 to 100 boats, I suppose.
Wow. 60 to 100, do you think could get out there?
Yes. In some situations, we had. I think that's what they had in the Buddy Bass tournament. 69 boats they had registered.
Wow.
Yeah.
That gives a good idea of the overall size there of what we're going to be looking at for sure. So October 6th, 7th is when we're coming. It is the championship. This one, if I remember right, this one might be going 3 days. No, this is a 3 day. So it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday that we're going for this one, the 5th through the 7th. That time of year, are we starting to cool down a little bit with the fall, or is it still, pretty much dog days of summer? What's the weather been like leading up right now so far?
Well, we finally cooled down, but from me being from Minnesota, I don't know if I'd call that much of a cool down. 105 with 115 heat index down to just 95 felt pretty good. So,
Good Lord.
so we have been in the mid to low 90s lately. It
Okay.
has been getting down to low 70s, upper 60s at night, but quickly warms up. So we could be close to 100, or we could be, it's possibly be down in the 70s, but I would expect that we're probably going to be still in the 80s at least
Okay.
at that time of year.
Okay. Yeah, man, that some of those heat indexes, we ran into some stuff in southern Illinois. I would have never guessed it, but southern Illinois, I hit a heat index this year that just about took me down, man. When that humidity starts to go with that, it's been just a really scorcher of a summer, out there for so many parts of the country.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
I can tell you when you're sitting in a kayak or a boat out there, it's even hotter because you're on that water.
Right, right. If you get a little breeze, that helps because then you get that cool coming off the water. But man, yeah, when there's no breeze, yeah, dude,
Yeah,
you just sit there like a baked potato out in your kayak for a
yeah,
while.
that's it.
I'm one of those guys that I keep the sun where I live in Colorado. The sun wants to kill you out here. That's it. It seems to be one of its jobs. So I keep the sun off of my skin as much as humanly possible. I have long fishing pants, that handle the water pretty decent, and yeah, same, this kind of stuff. Keep as much, protected as you can.
Yeah.
But also helps with the bugs there. What are the mosquitoes like in that neck of the woods? Are they pretty
Well,
prominent or?
so far they haven't been too bad, but during the fall they generally start picking up because it's like their last blood meal they have to get before the winter. So they
Fattening up for the winter.
that's it. That's it. So right now they're not too bad. So I would say you're probably going to miss the worst of the mosquitoes.
Good to see. So one of the questions I always ask guys, when we're coming to a new location there, there's a lot of small towns around there, and I love sampling, restaurants, little non-chain type places. If you could give a recommendation, where's a place when a bunch of us are coming from all over the country to come down there, where do we got to go eat, Michael? What's your thought? If there's a place that we should go get a dinner, or get a sandwich or something, what's your thought? Do you have a
Um,
favorite?
in CrossFit, I'd probably go to the bistro.
The bistro.
Yeah.
All right.
Um, it's Beach Street Bistro. Beach Street Bistro. That's a mouthful.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah.
Beach
But it's
Street.
some southern cooking,
Nice.
really good southern cooking food.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, some good comfort food. I'm all about that.
Yeah, and there's another coffee place for the coffee drinkers and stuff. She Brews is also got some sandwiches and stuff like that. Is also very good.
Awesome. All right. So that'll more than likely be. I'm trying to remember. I think we picked up where our. Oh, hang on. I had a question in here. This was from the man himself. He was watching the podcast. He put, but what type of vegetation are we going to see? That's a solid question.
Well, the forest is bottomland hardwood forest, so you're going to see that's predominantly willow oak and overcup oak. Then you'll see cypress trees, but the drawdown has sparked a growth of moist soil vegetation, and that is going to range from your red-rooted sedges some probably what we call gooseweed. There may be some barnyard grass in there. All of that is excellent duck food. So,
Excellent.
and that's one of the primary reasons for us doing the drawdown is to provide some food for the ducks.
Right.
And then we have no shortage of lotus, and lily pads everywhere. So
Nice.
you're going to see quite a bit of that too.
And that's where you'll find me, probably planted right in the middle of some of those, just eking along through there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I too, I technically was born in Minnesota, left at a young age, but I recently spent 10 years up in Minnesota there. And one of the things around the natural lakes and everything that you come up with is find the grass, find the bass. That's the name of the game. It oxygenates the area around, gives great cover for them. They love being in it. So we'll
yeah.
definitely be snooping around that for sure. That'll be an area that we're going to play on. So
Yeah, the drawdown has concentrated everything into the deeper waters. Moved everything into deeper waters. Uh,
perfect.
so along the river channels, and you're going to find a lot of shallow areas that most people can't get in with a boat. So a kayak would easily get into some areas.
Perfect. I like hearing that, and I'm sure quite a few other guys and gals are going to be appreciating to hear that as well when they get a chance to take this in. Well, Michael, is there anything else that you can think of that we should keep in mind when we're coming down there? Is there anything as far as on the conservation side or just on the safety side? Anything that you can think of that we haven't covered yet?
Well, I would just remind everyone, the Washita River, a lot of bass boats will be up and down can be on the main channel of the river. So be careful of that. Some of the old timers do know where those old river channels are, and where you and I may not be able to see that exact route. They've ran it so many times over the last 50 years that they could do it blindfolded, but they know that. So underneath of that water, though, we have logs, we have stumps, and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. In some areas, it may not look like it may look like you can paddle, but you may find yourself getting out of the kayak and actually having to walk a little ways because it's silted in the channel or something like that.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
lots of logs and lots of stumps under that water. So, sometimes you got to be a little careful.
That's good to know. That's good. I mean, those of us that do have trolling motors, a lot of times, paying attention to that. We fish a lot of waters with deadheads and stumps and fields and things like that. So it's always good to keep that in mind. And the last thing you want to do is get hung up on something, even with the slightest bit of current. You don't want to be hung up on something like that. That usually spells, a bunch of fishing gear end up on the bottom of whatever in the heck it is that we're running, at
Yeah.
that time. So that's always good to keep in mind. And yeah, those guys that know these places. One of the things that I am so very proud of, I'm formerly from the boat world and just 2 years now into the kayak game. And one of the things that I'm so proud about with the kayak community is we are the definition, if you will, of a leave no trace setup. We catch them, we photo them, and they're back in the water. We very little impact on the environment. I guarantee you that I see this more times in kayak than I ever do. Is if we're out there and we come across and there's a beer can or a worm container, whatever. I'll bet you 1 in 3 kayaks come back to the ramps with some sort of trash that they've picked up with that they saw out there. These fisheries mean so much, to us, keeping them healthy and making sure they stay in good shape, cleaning line out. I don't know how many times I've pulled fishing line that I've snagged. I get it up there. I've used my dive knife, my BC knife, more on fishing line than I ever have, for anything else. And that's just balling that stuff up, throwing it in the back of the yak, and getting it in a trash can when you get out of there. But that's something I'm really proud of our community about, and especially the All American group. I've seen firsthand these folks taking care of where they're at and making sure that we leave it in a better state than when we got there. So that should be a ton of fun, and I'm looking forward to the meeting the local communities when we get there. and having a chance to 3 days is going to be it's one of the hardest type of tournaments to do, to find enough groceries to sustain you for 3 days in a tournament, man. That's a tough gig. It's
Yeah,
it really separates out a lot of anglers, when it comes time. It's one thing to have a great day, but to have 3 great days back to back, man, that's this sport is not easy on you. So
I understand. And I invite anyone to the visitor center. We have a visitor center there, so stop by the office and in the visitor center and take a tour. And
perfect.
if people are interested in a little tour afterwards, after you get off the pool, just let us know, and we may be able to accommodate you too.
Well, that's awesome. I want to make sure and give a great big shout out to Amanda at your office there, Amanda Wilkinson. She helped connect you and I together here. Amanda, thank you so very much. We're very grateful for that, putting this all together for us and making sure that we could get a chance to sit down and chat with you here. Well, listen, Michael, I'm not going to take up your time. I'm going to let you go ahead and go get some dinner there. We're going to wrap up our show here shortly with a couple more local stuff, things that we'll cover here. But we're excited to come down there, and who knows, man, this could be something for the future, that something where the All American gets an opportunity to come down there once a season, or we have a lot of other affiliated local clubs that are close by. If this thing shows out well, I guarantee you it'll grab a lot of attention from the kayak community. We're young still, but we are the fastest growing sector of sport fishing right now, and that's the competitive kayaks. So everybody kind of pays attention to what's going on out there, and we're known for staying right in the heartland, right in blue collar America here. We go to places that maybe some people didn't think about. So just to show them that there's a lot of great fisheries out there. So
There is, and we'll look forward to having you guys.
well, thank you again for the hospitality, and I'm hopefully get a chance to maybe meet you down there on one of those days. And yeah, man, we'll have a good time. So thank you very much.
Sounds great. Thanks.
You bet. Take care.
You too.
All right, folks. So that's Felsenthal. That was from the man himself, Mr. Michael Stroh. This, I'm telling you, folks, this is going to be one of those one of those locations I think is going to be for the books. It's cool, in that it's a level playing field for all anglers showing up there. You've got an opportunity here where there isn't going to be a whole lot of home field advantage per se. You are going to have some locals that are going to be in the in that neck of the woods there for sure. Thanks, boss. He did an awesome job. I think we maybe going forward we should work with those guys a little bit more at all these other locations. But the cool thing is that this is just going to be a level playing field, right? I mean, it's going to be new for all of us when we're going in there. We got to try to figure this thing out. We've got the extra challenge of 3 days that we got to work around. Hopefully the weather, that time of year, we're coming in at the right time. I think maybe that weather will calm down. We won't get that 115-degree, heat index stuff. So that is super, super exciting. I'm looking forward to getting down there. Like I said, it's a long haul for those of us coming from this area, and I know probably other guys coming from other areas around Iowa and Wisconsin and that. It's going to be a little bit of a haul, but I think it's going to be worth every bit of the mileage to get down there and spend some time. So this should be a ton of fun. I want to take an opportunity here for those folks that are tuning in from the Colorado side to make a couple quick mentions here. It's end of the season is coming up, and we have a couple of our clubs here that are going to be wrapping up with some championships here. We just had the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club just had its multi-species final tournament of the year. And now this, I believe it's the 23rd coming up here at Boyd Lake, Colorado. Their Bass Series is going to finalize up. So all of our thoughts are with those anglers. Be safe out there. Have a ton of fun. And hopefully they end the year on a great note and have an awesome tournament. So best of luck and tight lines to all those anglers. Equally, in a couple weeks, we will be competing with the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters in their championship event at Horsetooth Reservoir. This is a big one. There's a lot of serious hooks that are coming into this with a lot of information that they have a lot of history on Horsetooth. This time of year should be pretty good. We shouldn't have to compete with too many of the wreck boaters. Most of that work, I think, has come to a close. So it's going to be in a couple weeks. This is going to be one heck of a shootout there. If we get the numbers that we expect to get, the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters could be sending 4 to maybe possibly 5 anglers to the national championship through Bassmasters. So that could be super super cool to see our little club go from sending 1 last year to now possibly having an opportunity to send 4 or 5. That is super cool. That we could have that kind of representation at the national championship. So best of luck to all of those anglers that are coming up here in this. One other piece I wanted to, that we'll probably mention this a little bit later, but the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club, they're going to be having their awards banquet right when the Felsenthal Championship is going to be happening. Now, why that's important to us here is, as the founder of the True Patriot Outfitters, we are the benefactor of their generosity. Every year, this nonprofit of the CKFC finds a nonprofit in the Colorado community, and they raise funds and monies for that nonprofit, and we are their chosen nonprofit this year. So we're super super grateful, super excited for that. I am going to have a representative actually showing up there on our behalf, since I will be in southern Arkansas at that time with the All American. So we'll make sure to get that in there, and we'll do as much coverage of that, see if we can get some guys on the podcast here to come chat with us about that whole ordeal there. Listen, folks, All American Kayak Series excuse me, is coming to a close here with this championship for the 2023 season. We've taken some lumps along the way, right? With the amount of folks coming in, we've had kind of a perfect storm of the industry as a whole. Everybody saw a drawdown on entries. I think just the state of the economy took its toll. There's just no way around that. That is what it is. On top of that, we had made some adjustments, some changes that we thought would be appreciated a little bit more, but some of these maybe weren't liked, some of the adjustments we made. So in listening to the anglers and listening to the people out there, the boss assembled the troops, and we listened to what the anglers were looking for, and there's a ton of adjustments coming back that should make getting more of the local support and getting more anglers an opportunity to come compete. And I'm telling you, man, 2024 is going to be a blast. A ton of cool adjustments being made here, and there is just going to be the All American is going to be I think just such an exciting tournament to partake in, an exciting series to be a part of. You can earn your AOI with a membership, or you don't need a membership if you don't want AOI, and just come compete in each one of these, or whenever we get close to you. The schedule looks like fire, man. It's amazing. What that schedule is looking like, and I'm sure as we get a little bit further here, Josh will be dropping that for everybody to see. I'm telling you, get ready to do what you can to be a part. At least if you've never been a part of the All American, at least try to get in one when we get close to you through the heartland here, through the Midwest. Because these format changes that we've talked about, how we're going to be a day and 2/3, we're going to end at noon on that Sunday from now on. We're going back to Saturday Sundays. That's a big deal. And then that 10 fish piece, I'm telling you right now, this could be a game changer, man. This is going to be so freaking cool. You're never out of the running. 10 fish is what you're going to be judged on, regardless of the day you caught them. So if you catch all your stuff on day one and you want to cut out early and don't want to come to the awards show, although it'd be a lot cooler if you did come to the awards, because we're going to try to make sure we got food there, we got giveaways, maybe a couple vendors showing up at some of these locations. So that's why we're doing it a little bit sooner, is to give you an opportunity to come and network with other anglers. So that's going to be going on. Or let's say your day one is junk. Day two starts off, but you land in a big old wad of them, man. You find a nest of fish out there. You got a shot of still banking your 10 fish on that Sunday, and still got a shot at actually cashing a check or possibly winning the whole dang thing. Dude, it doesn't get much more exciting than that. I mean, now we realize, me specifically realize also, there's going to be some folks that just don't like change. And we understand that. That was taken into consideration. But in the same vein, this isn't much. This is an adjustment, not a major change. This is an adjustment to really just pick up the excitement and pick up the opportunities for more anglers to have, you know, an opportunity to cash checks, get some money for doing what you love to do, man, and partaking in this stuff here. And you know what? For those hooks that are just on fire, you know what? Nothing changes. They're still going to be on fire. They're still going to be going, you know, out there. When Big Mo lands in your corner in this sport, it's a good thing to have that momentum moving like that. So this is going to be a ton of fun, man. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be, I think a lot of people are going to start paying attention to this real close. It's also going to be pretty cool to probably just be watching this from the sidelines too. When you get to that award ceremony, you're not going to really truly know who it is that's it's going to be cashing those checks. We'll announce that off when we get there, and it's going to be awesome. So thank you folks so much for following us here, True Patriot Outfitters. Make sure to smash that subscribe if you're following us from YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, jump over there real quick, smash that subscribe for us, help us in that viewership piece. Make sure to get a like and a follow on the True Patriot Outfitters. That allows us to keep our mission of bringing outdoor and recreation to our nation's veterans, active military, first responders, and their families. That is such a key piece in this, is making sure we involve their families with this as well. And giving them alternative ways to find peace, find some you know, calm voices down, and just give them a break. And they more than deserve it and have earned that very thing. And getting outdoors is a phenomenal way. Do some research into the recreational activity piece there and what it can do. It's a great alternative to a greasy bag of opioids, or finding, you know, 6 or 7 different people to talk to at a government-run agency of some sort. Engaging the outdoors and having that as a good place to find that peace and inner calm, if you will. It's no wonder we've all gained, you know, a ton of peace of mind, and being on the water, it tends to be, you know, that what we're looking for. By giving us those follows and helping us with those subscribes, man, you help the TPO reach more people and get out there and keep our message moving forward. On top of that, make sure to smash that like and follow for the All American Kayak Series. It's a series made for the blue collar folks, man. And it's made for the Midwest, showing some love to a group of anglers that don't get a whole lot of love shown to them. So that's where the All American's at. So thank you guys so very much. We appreciate all your patronage, and stick with us next week. We'll be back at Monday at 7 p.m. Central. And as usual, tight lines, folks. Be safe.